What's up, y'all? Who's tuning in with you, dude? Talk to me. I'm in a bad place right now. I need someone to talk to. I got a lot of anger over some shit. A lot of anger that I buried in the past. I buried the anger to move forward because it's very hard to move forward when you're angry. And the anger been creeping back up, and now it's here like full force over a lot of shit. Not just the shit I posted on this link about mental illness and people taking Tank Lip shine on mental illness. Just like a lot of stuff. Like history is repeating itself in like bad forms. And it does have a lot to do with the Matrix, and words are powerful. Now, I done cracked the codes of words a long time ago. What you speak is very powerful and very important, and literally your word choices are important in the butterfly effect of things. Okay, that's just one angle here, right? Literally, the words you think is another important, powerful angle. And then the words you write, the words you speak. Literally, word choices. The discovery of the word choices that you think or write, you're like, there's that word. And then you correlate it to what's going on in the world. Literally, words are the matrix, are the matrix codes. It is the matrix, and it is the matrix codes. And it actually does tell you what's going on. It's like words that come into fruition in existence at a certain moment in time, let's call it the present, is also the past and future in that now moment, in that now present moment. You could call it a gift, it could be a curse too. It's the gift and the curse. Jay-Z was onto something. Okay, but it's like a modern day Bible that's not technically written in print yet. But certain words, and literally all words, and the sentences formed with those words actually tell you the history of, like, from the beginning of times all the way up to now, and also the future. They are like snapshots into what is literally going on now, like as a modern day Bible, as it correlates to the old Bibles and Testaments, okay? So you actually can predict the future, and you can understand what's really going on is like a modern day Bible playing out, but it's also the old Bible, but it's happening now. Like everything is always past, present, and future. And in the sense, the words are powerful in the sense that they can change the course. But in a sense, the existence of those words and those things is a predictor that history can't be changed. That's why it has a funny way of repeating itself. Like, in a sense, as much as you change stuff, it's still the same day. It's still the same day and same days repeating itself. Okay? It is history repeating itself. No matter how much certain things change, we literally are going to experience certain phenomena. We are going to experience certain phenomena in the now and also in the future. No matter how much change. There are certain things that just don't change in itself, sort of. And a lot of it's really bad. A lot of it is really, really bad. I mean, this slavery stuff has been going on since the beginning of times, and now it's 2022. We are, in a sense, depending upon what perspective, somewhat living now in the future, which you can always say. But come on, growing up in the 80s, right, in this realm, starting from the 80s to now, 42 years of this realm, or time period for me, you know, in the 80s, 2020 something was the future. But now I'm here in 2022. So what was the future then is I'm actually now here in the future, right? See, it's very simple, but it's deep too. Sometimes the deepest stuff is best said in a simple way. And it's like, oh, okay, you're not really saying anything. No, I am saying something. Except when you brain fart, then you really can't say something, which is also happening right at this moment. They're tapping into my matrix. They're glitching me right now. I kind of lost my train of thought, which could be a blessing in disguise and maybe not so much. But you know what? Let's take it from there. Regardless of what I forget to say or what I want to say or what I say, certain things in history are going to happen no matter what, whether I say it or I don't. There are just certain things that it's like there is a DNA kind of like blueprint into, like, you know, the DNA of a seed that's fertilized and a baby is born. You know, it's going to take 9 months unless something weird happens. A body is going to be born with arms and legs and a head and a brain and ears and a mouth and eyes, unless something weird happens, is the same thing as like certain things. There is like a blueprint and a DNA of like literally history and time in itself. Certain things are going to happen. Like, this is how people like Nostradamus predicted the future. They somehow conquered these realities and realms and realities that I'm talking about right now, to the point where he could take certain things that were going on, even like a word, and like predict, okay, from this I can tell that this is going to happen in the future. And a lot of times it's on point, maybe like a little muffled or blurry, but a lot of the predictions really come true. Now, you can say, well, he either was on some time travel shit and already knew because he done traveled back and forth in time. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Or, you know, like he took the codes and was able to make predictions of the future. So, on that level or realm, you know, that's true. But for the most part, like, no matter what I say or do and how much change I try to perpetuate into me going down the tracks and moving forward, in 2050, there is some definite blueprint of DNA and reality that's going to happen, whether I'm even there or I'm not there. Whether I say something or I don't say something, do something, there are certain things that are just going to happen. Like, it's kind of already been mapped out and done before. And very possibly you can say from that, like, if history repeats itself like that, like, you know, the world's destroyed and built up in times, up, back and forth, up and down for like an eternity. It just keeps repeating itself and keeps creating and recreating. And that whatever I'm going through right now, I probably either was here in this literal life that I'm going through right now, maybe have actually done this exact same thing before. it might just have a little bit of a different spin. I may not have actually said the word boo right now at 8:34 a.m. in another world where this all happened and I went through it. But I don't know, if some building is going to blow up today at 1 p.m. somewhere in, I don't know, whatever country, let's say in America, in some state in the Midwest, that's probably going to happen no matter how many times we go through it. So certain things will always repeat, just like there's different alternate realities within the and sub-realities within the realities. So I don't know. I had a point for going through all of this, and there still is some point. I just can't think of the point to all this tangent right now. Sometimes I find some better closure with my blogs. You could say that mental illness is starting to deteriorate and get the better of me again when I don't have as much clarity when I speak and can't gather my thoughts as well. Is usually a good predictor or sign that something's deteriorating with me. So it is what it is. I'm not going to get all flustered and bent out of shape here now, for that I can't get to what I wanted to accomplish here. The information is still important. We'll just eventually it'll come to me what I want to get to, and we'll just use this as like a chapter or layer of the bigger story I want to get to. But I think some bad shit's going on. Maybe the point that I wanted to get to is in investigating the codes and matrix of the matrix, the matrix of the matrix. Like, call what we're going through literally the matrix, and then the matrix puzzle pieces of the matrix, which has a lot to do with words and sentences and thoughts, right? Because all those things determine what we end up doing as far as actions we take, right? So, and actions we take alter existence somewhat to the point that you can alter it and change it, as we just discussed. So that's important. And what I'm getting to is in my focus and observation, which I'm always an observant, astute individual. I'm observing, like, it's flashing at me like, dude, don't be asleep on this. Like, stay alert and wake the fuck up out of your coma or whatever paralysis you've been going through, Tank. And, like, here are some important codes. Like, what you're observing is important in the sense of when you think that thought and you write that word and complete that sentence, like, and you read it, like, really pay attention to what is there, because it's having a lot to do with the realities of things that are going to happen and the understanding and comprehension of what's going on right now is a lot tied. Like, I'm an important person in the Matrix movies, and it just so happens there's the character Tank that carries everyone through the Matrix. So, I do carry that sword. I figured that out in the Matrix of things a long time ago, that, like they talk about who carries the light, who carries the sword. I carry both. I carry a lot of important stuff. My story is a very important story in the Matrix of things. I am a very important individual, partially because I respect how important certain things are, also because I'm constantly trying to grow and change, even though certain things can't change. It makes me very important, but mostly my understanding and depth to the deepness of the rabbit hole makes me important. And it obviously was in some DNA or blueprint or Bible that they created a movie called The Matrix, and somehow had a character Tank that I wasn't even, paid for that movie, but that's actually who I am. And then you think about the stuff I'm going through. Those are just glitches that are made or just happen in the Matrix so other bad shit doesn't happen. I might have been meant to not get paid for that movie because maybe if I had that much money, I would have done something stupid and not stay on course for what I'm really meant to do. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I would have stopped my growth. Because the harder you got to sweat and labor, that blood, sweat, and labor, you grow more and more than when it just gets easy. So I'm obviously still on some God tasks. God's still using me and working through me to do these tasks, which are endless, never-ending tasks. But obviously, think about it. That's a character in the Matrix, a very important character, like literally the ship that people travel through or that carries people through the Matrix is the character Tank. Here's your dude, Tank Lip. I mean, go fucking figure. On another aspect and angle, take Halloween and Jason. I'm just wearing a sleep mask in this realm. In another realm, I was out killing people, like on some Friday the 13th, never-ending Nightmare on Elm Street shit. It just is what it is, We are all living probably reincarnated in many lives over and over and over again, So heaven and hell might not exist in the way you think of it. Hell, you just go under some flames or something. Heaven, you're in the clouds on like everything's pink and all peachy, There's different planes and realms and realities of heaven and hell, but in a very real sense, we probably die and just get reborn again and go through all. I mean, I also think I was Spider-Man and Superman in different lives, I was a fireman, I was a police officer, I was a soldier that got his arms and legs cut off. In this realm, I got a body so far that hasn't been amputated from what I know, unless I'm wearing like some type of prosthetic pieces that have been sewed on at an early age that I wouldn't know the difference, We all go through the same stuff in different bodies, different characters. Some things are the same, some things aren't. Maybe the one thing that is ageless and never changes is the soul or the spirit, which is also even that constantly changing because spirits and souls are tortured. Some are wise, some are stupid, some are laymen, some are ignorant. Some souls are capable of other things that others just get stuck in some other glitching matrix, There's so many angles and aspects of the different realities and then the different aspects of the different realities. I mean, it's a fucking clusterfuck puzzle that never gets fully put back together, but maybe you don't want it to, because if you put the puzzle together, then what do you got to do? So it just keeps looping and looping and looping, and no different than the earth revolving around the sun or some shit. Just always happens. But I don't know, sometimes then a big meteor rock from some other part of space comes down and crashes shit. So sometimes it's exactly the same, sometimes it's different. You just got to have open eyes, but then you got to know when to shut your eyes, because at a certain point, just driving yourself crazy over shit is pointless. You want to just kind of enjoy the present moment and be present and not always thinking back in the past, not always thinking forward to the future, and not always thinking in the moment. Just rest and relax and find some peace in the moment, which I understand and that I still can't conquer that no matter how much I try to shut all the noise down. So anyway, you do Tank Lip. Taking a break for a second. I'll be right back. What's up, y'all? I guess class is in session, y'all. I guess class definitely in session right now. I'm debating whether, since we've already discussed how powerful it is to even speak about some shit and say them words, discussing the next thing. It's already been thought and planned out in my head. I've already thunk it. I've already thunk it, y'all. But whether I say it is information you can handle, what's going to happen with the information, debating whether to put it out now. And whether I put it out there is probably stuff y'all know too. Otherwise, it wouldn't meant to be said if it wasn't meant to be understood by y'all. But I'm going to go here with it. So, I basically talked about the inevitable realities of kind of being born and dying and reborn, right? We just kind of briefly tapped on it just a couple moments ago. So let's say it like this. Let's say I'm absolutely correct. Then in a sense, you can kind of view your own death, right? Where you go after you die, and an inevitable return into the world, reincarnated into another realm person that's going to basically go through the same shit. You may actually just get what I think is possible and what happened with my life, that I actually chose it. I actually chose to be Jason Lipp and Tank Lipp. I'm going to now transfer this over to something a little different. So let's say that's true, that I was able to choose to be me, Jason Lipp, Tank Lipp, in this time period. And we're going through a time period that's already actually happened before. This is just history repeating itself, like literally. We're all going through something that's already happened. About to face things that are going to happen that have also already happened. And in the war and struggle and tussle of this reality, world, universe, matrix of things, matrix puzzle pieces, maybe there's a chance to create some change, even though some things can't be changed, right? And we're just kind of like characters in a movie or video game that gets played, and it's like no different than really Super Mario Brothers, and you pick up where you left off in one stage of the game, and then eventually you die, run out of lives, and you have to go to the beginning and just start the whole fucking thing over. Wipes out, world destroyed, recreated, literally from the ground up. Then you gotta also create the ground, so there's something literally just black holes in space you gotta somehow create it from. Very deep into science and different natures of literally elements. God apparently understands all of it. Even the stuff you can't understand is somehow understood by some guy called God or Jesus, right? So let's say one of the realities is hell. And there's a lot of suffering people. And you know, if you go back into hell, you're going to suffer too. In order to be able to handle the suffering, there's got to be a lot of great things to kind of keep you at peace and go through it yourself so that you can then help other people get through hell, right? Let's say I understood all that and I actually traded being Eminem. Like at some point I was actually Eminem, but maybe I didn't really like it because literally the fame of being Eminem creates a turbulence within your body and like literally gives you a nervous breakdown when you walk through life and you're recognized everywhere by everyone, and there's literally no peace in that, even though you're living a slice of heaven. All the money in the world, all the fame in the world, all the things that are our dreams and not our nightmares are also at the same time our nightmares, because then you get to a point where you literally can't enjoy it and you're like a nervous wreck, a nervous breakdown, and like literally physically you become like Tourette's syndrome or something from the turbulence and nervousness of constantly having focus and attention on you, because everyone knows who you are everywhere you go at every second, unless you lock yourself into solitary confinement, and then you're in hell there too, because no one's meant to be alone. So there's like a balance. Let's say I was Eminem, like with my gift of like words and rhyming and stuff, and I was also in a sense the same person in that realm, Jason Lipp, the ultimate GOAT rhymer, rapper, battle rapper. But I wanted to be able to enjoy rapping and some level of fame and recognition, so my life felt like it had purpose and a need for me and a belonging. And I wanted to keep some of those things that I enjoyed from that world and being that person, but didn't want necessarily the fame. For some reason, I realized after death, didn't want that same fame, so I chose the life and character of Tank Lip, someone that never really reaches ultimate notoriety and fame to the acclaimed status and level of an Eminem, but still carries all the same components of an Eminem. Now you have the life of Jason Lipp, Tank Lip. I may have actually chose this life to go back into what may actually really be what was one day called hell, which some people understand is now hell playing out in the Bible of hell and stuff like that. There's just so many masks and distractions that have been created with inventions that we go through hell easier than maybe we did in 1900. Now here in 2022, there's so much, in a sense, bad, but also amazing good distractions that life is just more manageable. So we no longer think of it or know of it as hell, even though it could be, because it could actually on earth be hell, right? Any type of life on earth is actually a realm or level of hell. But I came back anyway, even though I maybe had a choice to go somewhere else, chose like this life before I even lived it. Maybe even had some part in creating what was going to happen. You know, that could be like one level of like what the Matrix is, taking the red pill, the blue pill, you know, the choices, the choice to take that life and the choices to what is that life going to have and have play out in the video game and movie of life. Not the movie we see in the theater or on TV, but literally life, the movie of it as it's playing out, you know? So maybe I don't need to get my TV show. Maybe this is enough of a TV show and a movie just fucking going through all this, you know? But who's got the joystick? Who's making the moves? Are you someone's puppet or are you making the moves, you know? And the choices. I think I may have already made the choice for everything that's going to play out in this life and somehow came back to hell, no different than like a Spawn character, to like save people through their sufferings. Whether my voice is doing any positive change or not, I don't know. I may never know till after I die, and then I'm already in another reality, reborn into some other life. Maybe I'll get to choose that one. Maybe I'll just be put into that one by God or the devil. Who the hell knows at this point? But who the hell knows means maybe it's going to be another version of hell. So I gotta just be thankful and savor the moments while I got this, because this may be as good as it gets, that Jack Nicholson movie. So I'll try to hang on to this one as long as possible, because 1980 to right now and whatever else I got left may be about as good as it ever gets for my soul and spirit and what other characters I get to play through time as it goes on for eternity. This could be as good as it gets, for me. Maybe I've had it better in other lives. Your brain just isn't meant to remember it all. You just can't handle it. You literally can't. That's why we don't remember our other lives unless you've got the gift and the curse, and I somehow do remember to the beginning of times. And I was there. Pretty fucking damn sure of it. I've had enough lucid, clear clarity moments to know it's probably because I was fucking there. So, you do, Tank Lip. Peace out, y'all. When the turbulence hits, and it's hitting, is I think what I'm trying to get to y'all.